love Pete Rock, man. That's my brother, man. I love him dearly because he didn't give a fuck about anything but me and my well-being at that time. So
and it was selfless. Like, it wasn't like he was trying to make the record to get paid.
Yeah.
He's like, we need to get this done.
He didn't care about that. All he cared about was he knew it was going to be powerful. Then I gave the fucked up part is that album. I wish I would have put it out with Fat Beats.
Right.
But I did it with Lance Speed. And, you know, Bob Perry is a shithead. He's a dirtbag. You know what I mean? He was the wrong person for me to do that with.
Because it was a powerful, like, you calling out names. Like, before it was all trendy and shit.
Corporate.
He was calling out Leor and calling him a thief.
Yeah.
He was talking about the type of cat Steve Stout was before it became trendy.
Yeah, a bitch. Yeah. The bitch. He's always been a bitch. I remember when Steve Stout was running around with Kid and Play, and they were schooling him on how this go. I could probably put a stack on it right now that he don't even fuck with them, or he probably don't even pick up their phone calls. But when I remember
they had him under their wing,
schooling him
when they was on top of the game,
schooling him.
Right.
I'll tell you a quick story. This one I will tell you.
You know what? Let me just make this a caveat. Like, I didn't plan this, so internets. I know for the past 4 weeks it's been shit on Steve Stout.
Everybody know.
This is Freddie talking. This is not me.
Everybody listen. Steve Stout is who he is. Everybody who knows Steve Stout knows what he is. He knows what he's happy being who he is, and what people think about him. He's happy with that fucking shit because he still does the same dumb shit to motherfuckers that make them say they don't like him. So I've been not liking that motherfucker since the 90s, and it ain't gonna change now. So fuck him. The bottom line is, I remember one time I was in the Queens, in East Elmhurst, Queens, and he was in a pizza parlor with him. It was him, and I think it was Kid, and Herbie Lovebug. I think Herbie was with him, and I seen them go in there. So I was with one of my dudes. I said, "Yo, watch this," and I took my gun out and I walked up behind him. I said, "Stick him up." Yo, he damn near stripped and shit. Everything, scared to death. And I said, "Yo, I'm only kidding. It was a dude sitting in there eating a pizza and shit. It was a bus driver sitting there eating a pizza. So I was just fucking horsing around and shit. He didn't see that it was me. So I said, "I'm only kidding, man." And then I walked, and yo, years later, I was going to do a deal, and he called a dude up at Universal. It was a cat at Universal. He gonna probably, if he ever hears this, he gonna say, "Oh, I never did that." He's a fucking liar. This kid wanted to sign me at Universal. Was a big fan, and he was like, Steve got in the middle of that and deaded it. And he was like, "Who does that? Who pulls a gun out and just plays jokes on people like that? Who did?" Like, he was like a
Freddie
bitch,
Freddie Foxxx.
You know. And I mean, I was only fucking with him. I mean, I get it. I wasn't gonna shoot the motherfucker. I didn't take nothing from him. I was just horsing around. You know what I mean? But you know. He kind of he don't let shit go. He just,
don't let shit go.
You know what I mean? And it's like he just holds on to shit. And then I did have a conversation with him one time. I went to his office when he was at Sony. I think it was Epic or something like that. I don't remember 100%, but I went to his office and I'm talking to the dude and he kept saying my name. So I was concerned about that. Like he kept,
Freddie?
Yeah, he kept saying, "So what up, Freddie Foxxx? What can I do for you, Freddie Foxxx? What do you need, Freddie Foxxx? What do you want from me, Freddie Foxxx?" Like, he kept saying my name. So I just got up and walked out. I was like, "Yo, I'm out, man." Like, that right there said FBI all over it.
FBI,
So,
some type
you know
of
what
setup.
I just bounced, you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
So I know why 50 Cent, and I know why Damon Dash, and I know why guys think he's a shitbag. You know what I mean? Because that's what he is. He's a shitbag. And he knows that. I think that's part of his makeup. I think the fact that he does shit to people is part of his makeup. I know he's very successful, and I'm happy to see that. I just think that there's a lot of cats whose shoulders he stood on to get there, that, you know, he just, like, I seen him running with Kid and them. Kid and Play, they schooled him on this game. Like, he got schooled on this game by them dudes. If they fuck with him right now and he showed them niggas some love, then I stand corrected.
Right.
But I doubt it.
Right.
Yeah, I've been saying this since the 90s. I mean, when I did Industry Shakedown, everything that Damon Dash is talking about right now, I was talking about that in the 90s. You know, everything that, you know, everybody's so in an uproar about right now, I was saying that in the 90s, and I attribute that to they hadn't gone through it yet. You know what I mean? Some of these guys were actually working with the same people that now they can't stand, when I was telling them, yo, these guys are devils, man. They snakes, and they, and then it's how they play the game. You know what I mean? When you go in as an artist into a record company, and you know this, you go in, gun ho, ready to be successful at it. It's like you're almost you're a pawn. You're just a pawn. They send you on these promotional runs. There's a lot of budget stealing going on and all kind of shit where they'll take a nigga out the barbershop and make him an A&R just because he listens to a lot of music, but his qualifications is cutting hair and shit.
Right.
And I mean, I hear that, but at the end of the day, you rob banks with bank robbers, man. You know what I'm saying? When you put somebody in a position to be an executive in the music business, I mean, I'm still tripping over urban music department, but I attribute that to them not calling it black music because they got to explain a white man running the black music department.
Yes.
So they call it the urban music department. It's like, it's still something wrong with that to me. You know what I mean? Because I don't understand where hip hop has gone to the point now where it sounds like you're calling pop music hip hop music. You dig what I'm saying? And you're taking good rap songs and remixing them with these pop artists, but you won't play the original record in your playlist. Playlist has gotten so short. I think Gary Coleman is taller than the playlist.
Right.
Some of these motherfucking stations. And shit.
Or there's even a fear right now. And listen, like, understand, it's not, I don't want to put a conspiracy thing out there. And I don't want to be like, this is for this and this is for that. I don't want to be divisive. But it's so crazy that we live in an age right now where there is an obvious fear of saying that hip hop is black music. Like, you can't even say that right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to me, it's like this. When you have something so powerful, I mean, it's the only genre of music to me that has bonded so many cultures together. You know what I mean? And I've been saying this for eons. I've had conversations with Irish kids and Polish kids and Greek kids and, Europeans all over the world that my parents would have never had a conversation with their parents. They have nothing to talk about.
Right.
But, that drum, that African drum, that beat, you know what I mean? That's what it is.
The spoken word.
Yeah. And the spoken word, the beats, the drums,
the cadence,
the fact that the DJ, you know what I mean? It's like they've turned it into like a cookie cutter type of thing now where anybody can do it. They try to make it so simple and simplify it. When you come from an era of where it was built from, and there's guys that are even partaking in the fuckery that come from that.
From our culture.
From our culture. But from that era, it's like, I'm not saying that everything should be 90s. I'm not saying everything should be, I think it just needs to be balanced. And I don't see nothing wrong with saying that. I don't see nothing wrong with, they look at you sideways if you complain about a service that's being done called radio, or a service that's being done. There's no mom and pop stores no more. There's no record stores no more. Everything is online. So you got radio. It's always a cool thing, man, to turn on the radio in your car and just hear a balance of music. I think it inspires people who make music to play music that inspires you to make music. It's like, that's just what it is. Just like you got old school music that needs to be played. You got new music that needs to be played, but you got a playlist that's 6 songs deep. You know what I'm saying?
4 inches. You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
6 songs deep. And it's like, when I leave the studio 5, 6 in the morning, I turn on the radio because I want to hear the news. So you'll hear like one song come on. Take me about 30, 40 minutes to get to the crib. Same song 3 times in 40 minutes.
Right.
There's something wrong with that.
Yeah, and there's something wrong with what we're placing value in. Like, I did a round table recently at Complex, and the topic came up of Iggy Azalea. Now, the song Fancy is a smash. It sounds like a great Gwen Stefani song. But the topic came up as to whether she was a credible rapper. And motherfuckers were looking me in my face saying, yes, she's a credible rapper.
These motherfuckers are top 10
and
at Squirrel.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, she can rap. She can rap like my 6-year-old daughter can rap. You know what I'm saying? A to the B, C. Like, she can do, but to say she's a like this, like niggas y'all have lost your fucking mind.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is, man. I mean, anytime anybody can be in the top 10. That's why, I don't really focus so much on that anymore. Like, my thing is, you have to find your zone and you have to find your lane or whatever you want to call it, and you have to rock with that. Like whatever the fans that when I go do tours and do shows or whatever, the people that show up that know what I do, that fuck with what I do, that's who I care about.
Right.
I don't look for validation. I'm listening to radio as a person who loves music. I don't care if I don't have a history of radio play, so I don't give a fuck about all of that.
Right.
So that's why I was able to get online and play records that, guys who deal with what I deal with, you know what I mean? Don't get radio play. I love the fact that I can play these guys' music, Brown Bag All Stars and Matthew Ragazzino and all these other young guys that are coming out doing hip hop the way I like to listen to the music I like to listen to. I love that I can do that. You know what I mean? Vanderslice producers like that and guys like that that are really making good beats and stuff like that. There's a lot of young MCs out there that every new artist doesn't suck. You know what I mean?
See the argument that then even people on our team have said that. The argument is when I was complaining last year about the Grammys and saying that this has been the most vanilla Grammys we've ever seen, and it's in the existence of it's a problem. Cats were saying, yeah, but the younger cats ain't coming with it. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like there's thousands of cats that's out there waiting to be heard. Now you know what this is. I don't want to sound like what I didn't want this show to be, like me and you, like
yeah. I mean, well, they gonna do that anyway. You can't change the fact that people gonna say they gonna use words like irrelevant, angry,
old heads.
Old head. They gonna say stupid shit like that only because there's no other way to slip out of the fact that you're being gunned at. You know what I mean? Just the gun is pointed at you, so. You got to say shit that gets you out of the aim of line of fire. So you can't really care about that. It's going to be that like I can take anybody. I don't care who you are. I can take you on a ride with me and show you a spot in this society where you're irrelevant. And
I'm going to tell y'all this, internet.
That's nothing.
I've been in this industry for a long time, and y'all can say whatever the fuck y'all will about me. Like shit just slides off my back. But y'all motherfuckers would be crazy to say any sideways shit about Bumpy Knuckles.
No, I don't say that because
what you mean don't say that, Bumpy? Come on, Bumpy, don't be smooth now.
No, I'm not being smooth. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Because you know what? You're going to put a battery in somebody's back and get their head split open. That's what's going to happen.
Yo, if that's what's going to, you know what? I don't want to do that. Allegedly. I don't want to do that.
Because you guys get these little loudmouth motherfuckers out here talking stupid. Don't do that to these niggas, man. My thing is, because because everybody's so super
loose,
cyber thugging and all that shit. Yeah. I'm not really with all that. Right. My thing is, let's say what it is for real. What it is for real is, cats have studied their favorite artist, and now there's a diminished, how can I say, there's a lack of fan base that's present because everybody wants to be an artist now because they figured out, I think I can do this Premiere beat kind of like Primo. I get texts and emails and all kind of shit that say, yo, I got beats for you, kind of Primo sounding.
A word?
I fucking call Premiere if I want music. You know what I'm saying? Like I get, you know what I'm saying? I got dudes that'll say, yo, dog, I got joints for you, man. Kind of feel like Pete Rock shit. Fucking call Pete Rock if I want music. Like I like individuals that know how to make music that have something that challenges, my ability to spit on it. Like I turn down so many collaborations, dog. Cats offer me money to rock on their songs. I don't do it. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how many shows you offer me. Niggas is out here doing shows for $150 a night trying to exist. And I don't do that shit. Yo, dog, I'll fall back. I'm good. I don't trip off of that. Like, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, you have to remember when you make these records and your career's not as popping as it was in a certain era, and you go on doing songs with these just random motherfuckers that think they can spit or think that they can make music, that shit is out there forever because the upload buttons is on fire right now. And you're giving credibility to somebody like Mac Miller, for instance. Let's talk about let's go to Mac Miller.
Yes.
All right. Now, Mac Miller used all of these name brand guys that he knew to give himself credibility. And then when he did an album, he didn't call none of them motherfuckers. Right. They was all on his mixtape, but none of them was on his album.
Nobody got a check.
You know what I'm saying? Like, right. and whatever. Niggas is saluting him. I don't salute him.
Right.
Because that shit he did with Lord Finesse, there's a lot of cats that went against Lord Finesse for that. Now,
Lord Finesse was on the show.
Yeah,
and he talked about it. And he said that
I wasn't feeling that.
He said he was hurt because some of the legends that he looked up to was like, yo, you're fucking up suing Mac Miller. He's like, yo, y'all don't, like, for real?
Fuck out of here with that shit. Like, okay, so did they call fucking Barry White when his estate when he sued motherfuckers? Did they call, you know what I mean? My thing is that shit don't make no sense.
Right.
Like, you can't just take people's shit and then do what you want with it. But my whole point for saying him was, and not to beat up on Mac Miller, but
I do think the kid can rap.
Well. Oh no, he can rhyme.
He can rap his ass off.
He can rhyme. I think he's a dope rapper. Right. I think he's a good rapper.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of good rappers out here. But my thing is, you know, like he tweeted one day he thought him and Tupac would be good friends. And I tweeted him back and I said, why? Why do you think that?
What did he say?
He didn't say shit. Right. He didn't answer me. But Tupac would have answered me back.
Right. Like some amazing stories, man. I heard you when you were at Flavor Unit and it wasn't like the best type of situation for you. You got frustrated and went out and roped up the building with dynamite. Nah,
it's a lie. It's a lie.
You didn't have sticks of dynamite in your bag, Bumpy?
Nah, it's a lie. I mean, think about that, dog. Think about this kind of shit that people say. The kind of shit that people say is just so fucking dramatic. Right. Everybody got ketchup bottles in their pocket and just putting stories together, like
condiments.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you know, the Flavor Unit situation. It started off great. It was an awesome opportunity. You know what I mean, and they always tell a side of the story that makes me look like this villain.
Right.
You know, like I just woke up one morning and went there and wanting to do dirt. It just wasn't that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, what I will say is this, you know, what happened shouldn't have happened.
Right.
You know, and it was a business thing that happened. Bad business happened. And
you were in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was in the middle of it, but I was chasing it. Like, yo, I was like, okay, I'm going to come this day. All right. Can we fix that now? Yeah, so-and-so's not here right now. You know, can you come back tomorrow? So I go all the way back to the island, come all the way back
to Jersey.
And I was like, boom. I called. I'll be good. Come this day. I'll come back. They just kept giving me the 48 fake out.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Enough of this shit, man. Yo, can we deal with this now? And then it was to the point, like I started feel like I was being played.
Right.
And I just reacted, and it was explosives, but it wasn't dynamite.
Right,
you know what I mean? It was just, you know what I mean? And I was like,
you didn't leave the gun under the pillow that day.
Nah, I moved the pillow, you know what I mean? But and the sad part about that is it was so much catch up on the story, and all of a sudden I kidnapped everybody.
Who you kidnapped, Bumpy?
I tied everybody up. I heard all kind of shit, man.
Right.
And the bottom line is, homeboy fixed it. Homeboy, after the situation happened, he and I talked, he fixed it.
Right.
We good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Me and Dana never talked no more like after that.
Right. How was it working with a younger Queen Latifah? Because that's who you're referring to, Dana.
Yeah. I never really worked with her like that, though. I mean, it was like, I didn't see her too many times. You know what I mean? We did the roll with the Flavor thing, and then it was cool. She was always pleasant. You know what I mean? She was always nice. You know what I mean? There's even times when, you know, I wanted to holler at her about that because I didn't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? And she that's not a good look for her. It was my whole career. That's always been a big brick wall in front of me. Is that, yo, what you did at Flavor Unit? You know what I mean? And it was like, but don't, you know, when people take your livelihood and misuse the funds and do all kind of shit, when you bust your ass to make your shit, oh, come on, don't rob me. I'm usually the one sticking motherfuckers up. Don't rob me and shit. I'm not with that shit. You know what I mean? So if we on the same team, don't treat me like I'm not a teammate. Don't do shit to me that you do to motherfuckers out there that ain't on your team.
Right.
Because I'm a go hard teammate.
Right.
Somebody fuck with you. Okay, my crew is your crew. Rest in peace to Shorty Dog. She know that. You know, I ride hard for anybody I'm down with, but don't fuck me around when it comes to making money or when it comes to eating. If I eat steak, you eat steak.
Right.
It ain't no big you, little me situations. I think everybody should be treated like a teammate when you got a teammate. You know, niggas can say what they want about Rick Ross. I watch Rick Ross very closely, but that nigga take care of his people, man. Fuck what you think about the nigga. He take care of his people. You can't be mad at somebody.
A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, a lot of dudes are so fucking greedy, and it's like, you know, you can't have everything to yourself, and you can't expect everybody to sit down and be humble and take a, you know, and take a turn the other cheek attitude to fuckery when you doing shit to people. You know what I mean? You have to, you know, you can't, don't think everybody's gonna go for that shit.
Right.
Everybody ain't about, okay, well, I'm just gonna walk away. You know, that's the sucker shit that people like to do and say, yo, he was a gentleman about that. I robbed that motherfucker for $150,000, but he was a gentleman about that.
That means he's a sucker.
Yeah, he's a sucker. You're a sucker. When you let people take from you, you're a sucker. Should you do it the way I did it? I don't recommend that.
Bumpy, what did you do, man?
I'm not going to say what I did, but I don't recommend that shit. But it wasn't dynamite. Right, I will say that. It wasn't dynamite.
It could have been explosive.
Because, you know, all throughout the years, I mean, listen, man, throughout the years, I'm so blessed to be able to still go on the road and tour and still be able to go walking into certain labels and make deals. A lot of people that was in charge of labels at the time, in that era, they gone now.
Right.
You know?
So the new cats don't know you to be afraid of you.
Yeah, the new cats don't know me to throw the ketchup on the stories and all that shit. But the old heads that, you know, the Dino DeValiers and all those motherfuckers, they was the ones that was like, oh, don't fuck with that nigga.
Right.
That nigga will blow your brains out and shit.
Did you ever turn Dino upside down, man?
Nah, I just never gave a fuck about him. I'm sure he's running some major TV corporation somewhere that won't fuck with me, but fuck him. I never, you know, certain niggas I just don't really fucking care about. You know what I mean? They're not on my radar. You know what I mean? Like when I say on my radar, not like I'm doing some big shit that they need to be. It's just that they don't matter to me.
During our station break, he was talking about how, you know, he wished he had a little bit more finesse to do some of the other things that some of the other rappers he came up with did.
Yeah, man.
With regard to the record labels. We were talking about, you know, Tretch allegedly walking into the label with a bag of mice and rats and letting them loose in the office. And you were saying that you wish you was smart enough to do that instead of shooting records off the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I would rather had. I didn't say that.
Allegedly,
y'all said that.
Shot records off the wall.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Target practice.
You know what, man? I really believe that in those days, you know, I think it's harder to get into labels nowadays because of shit like that. Cats don't, you know, record industries execs don't even want to meet with motherfucking rappers no more and shit because that, you know, but they stealing it in a different way. I mean, record companies are kind of, you can get a deal at a record label now that you should have got 20 years ago. 50-50, keep your shit, you know, keep your masters and all that. Because now it's hard, you know, with all this internet, it's kind of hard to, you know, steal the money like it used to be. Now, you know, but if you go back, let me just say this to a lot of artists that have deals and records out in the 90s. You know, there was no digital clauses in there, so people selling your shit online, you know, you might want to check into that because they didn't have digital rights,
right? Of course,
to do that. A lot of cats don't know that, but definitely don't go in and bust no gun in a record label.
That's a bad move.
It's a bad move.
Not in 2014. They got cameras everywhere.
I was lucky, man. I was lucky nobody pulled out a cell phone and said, World Star!
You know what? They didn't have cell phones, man. You know, there's also this rumor about you, man. Like, if certain individuals in the game got robbed by these record execs or these lawyers of the whole nine, and these cats felt there was a significant amount of money on the table, and they had no recourse because the labels or the managers or the lawyers said, go fuck yourself. You better call Bumpy. Did you ever have to come to anybody's rescue, man? And
I gave guys advice. I never did. I never like cats would call me and say, yo, man, I got a deal. And I would, it was, see, the story they telling you was twisted. Right. I'm gonna tell you the real shit was happening was, dudes were bringing me their contracts to read their contracts, to show them where they had loopholes because they couldn't afford to pay the lawyers. See, what they don't know is I know how to read contracts because Tim Fry, who was my attorney at one time, taught me how to read contracts. And
to talk about that, because you talked about that before we started, about how he sat you down.
Yeah, he you
had a black attorney.
Yeah, I had that
I worked for, actually.
Yeah, I had this motherfucker. Yeah. You know, I had a black attorney who was representing me, and I found out in the middle of after my deal was done that he had, in the middle of me negotiating the deal, that he had gotten disbarred. Mm-hmm. And when I found out, this motherfucker sent me a bill for $4,500 and shit. And I was like, you gonna send me a bill and you got disbarred? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you know, I'm not paying you. No, you ain't even a lawyer no more. Like, beat it. So I had to find a new lawyer. So lawyer was recommended to me named Tim Fry. And Tim Fry was an amazing attorney for me, man. He just, you know, he took a liking to me because we had something in common. His kid was playing soccer. I used to play ball when I was young, and we had into that conversation. So he started saying to me, he said, listen, I'm going to be moving. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to be moving into a different situation with with the firm he was with. So he called me into his office. I think I stayed in there for like a week, come back and forth into the city. And he was showing me how to read the contracts. He said, because, you know, you can get a huge bill with these guys charging you guys all this money. So for some reason, he taught me, I guess he saw in me that I could absorb that. And he taught me how to read contracts. So the blessing was that I never forgot how to read them. He'd show me the words to look out for, the perpetuities and all of the stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And what they were exploiting and this.
Exactly. And how, you know, things like exclusive and, you know, and how they could put something in one paragraph and you could
take it away,
omit that from one paragraph and then put it back in another paragraph. Right. And the same thing that you thought you omitted is right back in. So, you know, there's an intelligence level that was gained there, that was given to me by this guy.
Now, let me interrupt you. I'm a music lawyer, but I've looked at at contracts from other industries, and it is well known that one of the most difficult contracts to read through are the music contracts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like they're more difficult than real estate contracts or these contracts. They're the most difficult. It's so much fuckery
definitely
going on in those contracts.
Yeah, because they know guys are gonna. I mean, listen, and just as bad as the labels are doing it, the lawyers are doing it. Yes. Like I know there's situations where certain lawyers will call a record label, and this is definitely not honorable when you call a label as somebody's attorney and say, listen, you know, I think you should put, you know, we'll leave it like this, but, you know, kick me back this, and
I'm gonna lay down.
I'm gonna lay down, and I'm gonna let you, and that happens.
Right.
It happens. So you have to know, you know, to read the last page and read the front page and get all in between those.
Read the page. Read 3 pages before the last page.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, you learn to read these contracts.
I learned to read them, and guys were calling me and saying, "Yo, Fox, man, I need your help, man, on something." And I said, "Okay, what's popping?" And they was like, "Yo, this label, you know, my record is supposed to come out. They gave me an advance, and you know, they won't give me my back end, and you know, I want my back end. I turned the album in months ago, and blah blah blah, and all this shit." So what they weren't asking me to go collect money for them, because you know that wasn't going to happen. But you know, what they were asking me to do was give them some advice. So my thing was to tell these guys, listen, do you have a copy of your contract? And some cats didn't, some cats did.
It's amazing how many cats don't have their copies.
Yeah, because you're supposed to have a copy of your contract, the exact contract.
Exactly.
So that way, when that extra page,
signed copy of the contract,
and if you initial every page on yours and theirs, they can't slip that
Bandulu page.
Exactly. Right. So, you know what I mean? And I would just look at the contracts and just say, yo, you know, this is what it is, you know? And I mean, that's the most I've done. I wasn't collecting for nobody like that. You know, cats will definitely tell you that because they want to seem like they, you know, did some fly shit by hiring a goon and shit
to get some,
but that wasn't
hogtied
real. Wasn't real, man.
Pump people's muscle.
It wasn't real.